Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. Glad to see y'all in the building. I hope you had a really amazing week. I had a really good week. Hello to everybody out there. Y'all know the routine now. Don't forget, you got to purchase your ticket on this train, and your ticket on the train is the like button. Hit the like button on the way in the building, okay? And let me know what number ticket you have. But listen, tonight's trending topics, the title is real simple. It's called shocking, okay? Shocking. Why? Judge Mathis is on the docket. At the 39 years of marriage, people, double digits, almost 4 decades. Almost 4 decades. 39 years of marriage, and his wife, Linda Mathis, filed for divorce. Not giving us many details, but she filed for divorce. Now, listen, many people, wanted to beat Wendy Williams down. But if you go back in the archives, Wendy Williams said that Judge Mathis had a lot of things going on. I'll use the word things. Yeah. Said allegedly he had a lot of side chicks. There was allegedly some pregnancies. And allegedly he has some other problems. So Linda Mathis dealt with a lot, but you got a lot of bravery when you're 61 years old and been with the same person for 39 years, and you wake up and realize, I am enough, I'm good enough, and I don't deserve this, and I'm out. The truth will always come to the light, so we'll get more details soon enough. But I was a little shocked. 39 years of marriage. They was just on a yacht trip with a bunch of other celebrity couples. And now here it is, boom. She went and filed for divorce, and she won her spousal support. And I believe there is no prenup. Because when they got together way before the celebrity and way before all the money. So no prenup. She gonna get her coins. Now, speaking of prenup, she's not on the docket tonight, but Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck didn't have a prenup either. No, they did not. And what I heard in that particular situation with Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck, that during that 2-year period, Jennifer made $80 million. Good gosh almighty, $80 million, and he can potentially get half. I think Jennifer would put her foot on that man's neck if he tried to take her money. She done with him. Yeah, that Wendy Williams piece was brutal and raw. Brutal and raw. It was wicked. But she did say it many moons ago. So then also, we're going to talk about Pastor Keion. Y'all remember Pastor Keion? Pastor Keion is what's his name? Shawnee Henderson now, formerly Shawnee O'Neal, Shaq's ex-wife. That's Pastor Keion, that's where his connection comes in. So, he has a church. Something happened to the church. He wants to rebuild the church, and he's asking the parishioners, the churchgoers, because God told him to ask the church people for $4.4 million. You got a wife who got a whole bunch of money, and your wife should be your first investor. Matter of fact, she can build the whole church for you, but you asking the people for $4.4 million. We're going to talk about it. Shocking. Especially when just before that, he told that lady in the choir to shh. Y'all remember that? He told her to hush up. Only voice he want to hear is God's. And now he asking the people for $4.4 million. I wonder if he want to ask that sister that he shuts up for some money to build a new church. We're going to talk about it. Okay, it's Friday night. We got stuff to talk about. And the title is called Shocking. Then we did this story. I want to say it was either earlier this week or last week. I think it was last week. That judge, Judge Kenneth, his name is Kenneth King. Okay. So Judge Kenneth King, he decided that he was going to reprimand the student in his courtroom because she fell asleep. And her mother says she fell asleep because one day homeless, she was tired. You can't really get no sleep and no shelter. But outside of this young lady falling asleep, he thought he did the most. He was pissed at her. He made her change into a jailhouse jumpsuit pretty much. He put handcuffs on her. They made her change in a room that had cameras in it. This thing is so nasty at this point. It's out of control. Yes, they made her change into those jail clothes, that jumpsuit, in a room that had cameras in it. The men stepped out of the room, but the men brought it to the room. They put handcuffs on her. It is a hot mess. But the mother done got her a lawyer. Yes, she did. They traumatized the baby. They sure did, Q. The man got the mother got her a lawyer, and they suing. But they said something like $75,000. I thought this lawsuit would have been in the millions. I would have started off at maybe even double-digit millions, because I would have been suing the court, the judge, everything and everybody that was involved. The court officers, the one that actually physically put the handcuffs on my baby, whoever gave her that jumpsuit, the room that they had to make her use. Oh, I would have been suing for all kind of stuff. And I ain't the sue queen. But when you want to make my daughter act like she a whole criminal, no, we're not doing that. I don't know where they do that at, but they're not doing that to my child. It's a mess. Very messy. Unbelievable. But let me say this, y'all. It's shocking. It's Friday night. I hope you're ready to get into this conversation with us. Me and you said, I love Judge Mathis and his beautiful wife. Hearing about the divorce is heartbreaking for me. Another Black family broken. I agree with you. That's why we're going to get into it tonight. But I do believe that unfortunately that wife, she dealt with a lot in that marriage, and she just woke up that day, whatever day she went to file, and she said enough. And she claimed that they've been separated since July 17th. I feel like she found out something she just was like, you know what, I'm not doing this no more. I'm not doing this no more. I gave you chance after chance after chance after chance. And now here we are, 39 years together, and you still acting a fool. Because it had to be something drastic to make her wake up after 39 years and just say, enough, I'm out. She want her spousal support, and I guess she said, you know what, I'm going to figure this thing out solo, because all of their kids are grown. They have a beautiful family. I want to say it's 2 boys and 2 girls. Very sad, but like I said, shocking. But we're going to get into it. And listen, all we got to do is wait till about next week, maybe 2 weeks later, and the rest of it's going to come out. It's going to come to light. It always does. Yes, it does. It always comes to light. But anyway, guys, y'all know what I need in the chat, because I'm about to bring the people on in the building so we can have a Friday night conversation. I need a what, y'all? I need a choo-choo. Hold aboard, everybody. It is Friday night trending topics, and the title is shocking. We got Judge Mathis and his wife on the docket. After 39 years of marriage, she's done. We got Pastor Keion requesting $4.4 million from the people to rebuild the church. Okay. And then we got this Judge Kenneth King. He thought he was being cute. He thought he was going to show somebody a lesson. Now he learning all kind of lessons. Lost his job at the university. Suspended from the courts right now. Ordered to go to a class. And he's being sued. Let me go ahead and load this train up. Hold on one second. Hey, in my opinion.
Hey, Diva, choo-choo.
Choo-choo. Hey, Julius. Hey, Katrina. Hey, E.
Hello,
Hey,
everybody.
y'all.
Choo, choo, choo.
All right now, choo choo. Glad to see you in the building. Listen, just a friendly mention. The convention, I saw a lot of the highlights. Okay, y'all know I didn't physically see it in real time because the train had pulled out the building Monday through Friday. Okay, but I did see the highlights and the Democratic convention. I really did enjoy from the highlights that I saw. But regardless, I gotta find this clip. But you know what? Here, vote for who you want to vote for, but all I am saying is vote. I gotta bring this clip to you. I couldn't find it tonight. I probably maybe showed on the weekend or maybe on Monday, where people that they spoke about what they went through, what their ancestors had to go through just to be able to vote. A long time ago, there was this one young lady that said I think it was her grandfather, whoever, had to memorize the Constitution, go recite it in front of people in order to be considered to have the right to vote. And after he memorized it, couldn't read it, after he memorized it, they still denied him. Listen, what our ancestors went through just to be able to have their voice heard and vote is insane. And we should not miss our opportunity or our chance to go out there and place our votes. Very good Democratic convention. I truly, truly did enjoy it. So let me go ahead now and we're going to get right into, you know what? Let's deal with Shawnee's husband for a minute. First of all, let me say this. When Shawnee was getting about, I think, $50K a month from Shaq as part of I guess their divorce and spousal alimony or whatever the case may be. But once she got married, he no longer had to dish out that $50K a month. Listen, I don't care who you are, how much money you have. When you are used to getting a $50K a month check, when it go missing, it kind of hurt. If I was getting $50K from my previous marriage, I would have to think long and hard before I said I do to anybody. So as a result, anyway, she missed out on it. She's no longer getting $50K. She's married to Keion, and he asked the people of the church, "Can you give me $4.4 million so I can rebuild the church?" Sir, get it from your wife. Get it from your wife. So let's get into this story. Hold on one second. Mega Church Pastor Keion Henderson says God told him followers will give the $4.4 million in 3 weeks. Okay. So after Hurricane Beryl caused $20 million in damage to 3 of his churches, 4 campuses, Pastor Keion Henderson, founder and CEO of the Lighthouse Church and Ministries in Houston, Texas, says God told him he damaged the churches so he could rebuild facilities twice as big, and that his followers would give him approximately $4.4 million in 3 weeks to do it. Henderson made the bold announcement in an update on the state of his churches on Wednesday night from Joel Osteen's Lakewood Church, where he says he'd be hosting services for his 20,000 weekly attendees in August. While Henderson laminated the damage to his churches as catastrophic, he claimed God revealed to him that it was all his doing so Henderson can build a bigger church to accommodate the thousands that want to hear God's word from him. I won't pretend like I can do this by myself. If I could do this alone, trust me, it would be done already. But I am a feeble man who puts himself at the mercy of the court and asks you to join me in a journey because we do not have time to waste. We cannot build and we cannot raise money for 3 years and then build another 2 years and have all of these people displaced, said Henderson. He claimed that before the damage from Hurricane Beryl, the church turned away between 600 and 700 people from its campuses weekly because the sanctuary was beyond capacity. God gave me a vision, and he said we can do it in 21 days. I'm asking 2,100 people to give $2,100 in the next 21 days, and what we're calling it is Out of the Harbor, Henderson said. 2024 is a significant election year. This is everything I have to come to expect from CP Contact, the above journalists' unique perspectives and insights, all guided and bound from within a biblical world view. I pick my podcast and spend my time listening time carefully. And this one is worth subscribing and listening to. He said, I call you from California. I call you from New York. I call you from Florida. I call you from the UK. I call you from Africa to join us in our call to action. 2,100 people, $2,100, 21 days to kickstart our efforts to get back into our building. Henderson said that while some people may believe that insurance will be enough to cover the losses, he doesn't think it will be enough to cover God's visions for his church because the payout will be based on depreciated value. Before making the request of his followers, Henderson spoke of the journey he had been on for the last 15 years to build the church and the challenges he faced. I can give you all of the details, but let me tell you, our building is uninhabitable as of this moment. You can't even walk in it. It's catastrophic. It's shocking. It's sobering. It's actually emotional. The reason why it's emotional is that you could have not imagined all we had to go through to just to get here. He said, recalling multiple deaths in his family as he prepared to buy the building that housed the church and church-run school for 15 years ago. I never forget when we were signing the papers to close on the building we're in. Closing had to be postponed. My grandfather died on the same day we were scheduled to close. Well, we rescheduled closing 30 days later. I was signing the papers. The lawyer said, the lawyer that was in the room with us, he looked at me with tears in his eyes, and I thought he was happy because of what God had done, Henderson said. What I didn't know is that my mother had called him to tell him that my uncle had died while I was signing the papers. 3 days later, when we walked in the building with the keys, we got the news my oldest cousin died from a brain aneurysm. You can't imagine all that took place for us to get in the building. And now I'm looking at 15 years gone in 15 minutes, he continued. Henderson said the storm damage caused him at times to suffer depression because it disrupted the lives of some 300 children in his church-run daycare and school, as well as staff members. Yes, I have moments of depression. Yes, I live by faith and I walk by faith, but I have moments when I felt like giving up. The impact was so great, not just on the building, but all the decisions I knew would have to be made, he said. Where's the daycare going to go? Where's the school going to go? We got 300 kids in daycare and school that are now displaced, and we do put to the 60 to 80 staff members. So many decisions so quickly with little time to think about. Then I had to reach in my reservoir and remember that we are a royal priesthood. I'm a resilient person because I walk by faith and not by sight. He said the faith has moved him to carry out God's vision of building back bigger with the help of followers who have never even attended his church in person. Let me thank those of you who sit in your living rooms and you loan me your spirits. Thank you for using my hard-earned time and resources to call me your online pastor. Some of you I never met, but I feel like I know you in my heart. And because you have helped us to get here, I'm going to call on you to help us to get there, he urged in his appeal. I need you to help us in rebuilding. All who have watched me, you heard me say that it is time for us to expand our sanctuary. We're turning 600 to 700 people away every week. The parking was crazy, but we made it. I told our church that we are going to start over. And yet again, I believe God, Keion, your faith was too small. So let me blow the building down so you can build what I put in your heart. He claimed God told him. I want to increase the size of our sanctuary by 2. I want to double the size of it so that no one who has an opportunity to get in is turned away because we don't have a seat, he continued. We can't wait on the insurance company to do that. I need you from around the world. If I ever preach a message that has touched your spirit, if I ever spoken into your life and you started the company that you were not going to start, had I not pushed you in faith, if you were thinking about ending your own life, but somehow God gave me a word that made you fight to live another day. I need you. Donald Lakewood's lead spokesperson and Osteen's brother-in-law confirmed that Henderson will be hosting services for his church at Lakewood for the month of August, and was only asked to assist with costs that incur from his congregation's use of the space, and is not being charged a typical rental fee. Joel and Keion knew one another. The assistant told the Houston Chronicle. Joel respects the young man. Spokespersons up for the Lighthouse Church and Ministries, Brian Smith, confirmed the temporary location and said the gesture from Lakewood Church is a blessing. Lighthouse is grateful to the Lakewood staff for providing us with the use of their building and sanctuary during this month, Smith said. Their friendship and compassion are wonderful blessings to our church. The partnership between Lakewood and Lighthouse demonstrates that our community is all about one, resilience for the city of Houston. Lakewood Church doors and parking lots will be open for Lighthouse Church parishioners on Sundays at 6 p.m., while the service will begin at 7 p.m. and Dr. Hill. Okay. So listen, he needs $4.4 million. They have a space at this moment, but August is almost up. In my opinion, your thoughts?
This is why he needs to listen to God's word, because if he had God on his side, he wouldn't need to ask nobody for nothing. What God has for you, he gonna give to you. But let me tell you something. This scammer, okay, he got with Shani, okay, he was a scammer when he got with her. He thought he was leveling up, and now he's showing himself that he's the scammer that he is. Don't be careful of these sheeps in wool clothing out here.
Well, there's that. Julius, your thoughts?
Miss me with this despicable false prophet. The word talks about that. Beware the false prophet, they will reveal themselves. He is the false prophet. Even through noise, God can talk to you, God can lead you, and God can tell you what to say to the flock. But wasn't he the one to tell that woman in the choir to hush the heck up?
Mm-hmm.
See, when you go into the house of the Lord, you go in there, you could shout, you could rejoice, because you know what? You're feeling the blessing of God and you're amongst community. That's really what church is for. But I digress. Yeah, like I said, miss me with this despicable false prophet.
Okay. You're up.
Uh, well, I want to say this as politely as I can. Gray hair diva, you
Oh.
bring me up here, and I have to say it like I mean it. So I'm going to say it. Everything this man said, he always circles back to God. He was about to close on the church, and then the grandfather passed, and it's very touching.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that as his grandfather's spirit transitioning into the soul of that church. And it will all sound well, but then he says God gave him a word about this daycare center and so on and so forth. I will believe you if you say God told you to do that, but I am going to also say this looks suspicious. Why are you giving out a quote of $4.4 million from God's people when the insurance company hasn't even come back and assessed the damages yet? He said he's already for certain that it's going to be lowball because of depreciation. Well, that means you already knew that what you had was low bar if you're expecting them to come in that low. But I'm going to lean in with, in my opinion, if you are truly trusting in God and letting God lead you, it doesn't matter what you think about the depreciation. God is going to come through and touch the heart of the appraiser or whoever's handling the case and put all the commas in there that God wants you to have. How about that? And if you are truly saying you're listening to God as you're presenting it to us, why don't you hush up sometimes and listen? Because I find it challenging that God told you to simultaneously I find that challenging to believe God told you simultaneously to marry a woman who produces old hens to spread malicious gossip about people being former prostitutes and putting their police reports on national television and calling Nigerian women monkeys, and then you got them fighting and throwing water all over the place. I find that challenging. That you have this woman who has admitted to hiding monies from said ex-husband and still getting it coming in and coming in and coming in. And if God brought this woman into your life to help you multiply and increase, then how come she didn't get you a show on VH1 worth $4.4 million? How come we don't see you on Sunday on VH1? They don't have a gospel show on there. Wouldn't that be something great to pitch? But I guess you can't pitch it if you got the old hands talking about prostitution and fighting all the time on the Basketball Wives. But what the hell do I know? How about that?
Woo, woo, woo. So Desmond, sweet. He said all 200 of y'all in here to talk about Paxton Henderson on a Friday night question. There's actually 3 stories on the docket, Desmond. And if that's your question, if it's on the docket, I mean, you should have the answer that, yeah, that's what we're here for. But I mean, yes.
Can Desmond touch grass?
Can he turn wine
Choo
into the
choo.
Oh, God, help us. Listen, you know what's interesting to me? And listen, I like to tell people, born and raised in the church, I love God. I pray, I believe in God, I go to church, all of the above. But what always confuses me is, why is it people think that somebody in the pulpit who breathe, eats, and do just like we do, they're above being talked about or having a conversation about? That always confuses me. You can have a man in the pulpit, and I'm not saying that this is Dr. Keion Henderson, but you can have a man in the pulpit destroying lives, slaying down women, sleeping with everybody in the church, and nobody's supposed to say anything. I'm confused. Why is that? Hold on one second. We're just going to listen a little bit in his own words. We ain't listening to this whole thing.
From a brain aneurysm. You can't imagine all that took place for us to get in the building. Well, I can't give you all of the details, but let me tell you, our building is uninhabitable. As of this moment, you can't even walk in it. It's catastrophic. It's shocking. It's sobering. It's actually emotional. The reason why it's emotional is because you could not imagine all we had to go through just to get here. I will never forget when we were signing the papers to close on the building we're in. Closing had to be postponed. My grandfather died on the same day we were scheduled to close. Well, we rescheduled closing 30 days later. I was signing the papers. The lawyer that was in the room with us, he looked at me with tears in his eyes, and I thought he was happy because of what God had done. What I didn't know is that my mother had called him to tell him that my uncle had died while I was signing the papers. 3 days later, when we walked in the building with the keys, we got the news that my oldest cousin had died from a brain aneurysm. You can't imagine all that took place for us to get in the building. Well, I can't give you all of the details, but let me tell you, our building is uninhabitable. As of this moment, you can't even walk in. And now I am looking at 15 years gone in 15 minutes. Yes, I had moments of depression. Yes, I live by faith and I walk by faith, but I had moments where I felt like giving up. The impact was so great, not just on the building, but all of the decisions I knew I would have to make. Where is the daycare going to go? Where is the school going to go? We've got 300 kids in daycare and school that are now displaced. And where do you put the 60 to 80 staff members? So many decisions so quickly with little time to think about them. Then I had to reach in my reservoir and remember that we are a royal priesthood. I am a resilient person because I walk by faith and not by sight. Our church does not waver because we belong to the Lord Jesus Christ. And we believe. And now I am looking at 15 years. Believe when he said, upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell, or let me rephrase it, the wind of a storm shall not prevail. Our North Campus, yes, it is closed, but our church, it is as open as ever. Our physical space is destroyed, but our hearts still sing the beautiful song of Jesus Christ. We believe that God will do it again. Our resilience has not wavered, and it will not. We had in-person services the first Sunday after the hurricane. And since the storm, we've hosted in-person services every week since. We've had Monday morning prayer calls. We've had a men's prayer breakfast. On August 9th, my wife and her team will host a Light Fest, we call it, and we will give out backpacks and we will give out school supplies and leave when he said, upon make sure that the kids of our neighborhoods go to school with dignity, because the ministry of Jesus Christ is not dictated by the four walls of a building. I want to applaud the unity of the staff of the Lighthouse Church in the face of this adversity. See, this staff came together like a community and they rallied together. God has shifted us, no doubt, through seasons before, and his plan for us includes this greatness that I believe that will come out of this moment, the beauty, the glory of God. At this very moment, he's still with us. Make sure that the kids of our neighborhoods go to school with dignity, because the ministry of Jesus Christ is not dictated by the four walls of a building. It's important at every moment that we, and that includes you, are also unified under the cause of Christ. We are one united community. Whether you go to church in Nebraska or whether you go to church in Houston, Texas, we are a part of the same body of Christ. That same strength from the cross sustains us on the West Coast and the East Coast. It sustains you in Africa and it sustains you in the UK. And we know that all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. And we know it is the hottest fires that produces the strongest steel. It's important.
So
He sounded like a used car salesman.
And I
listen,
got something to
Terrible
say
one
after
at
you go to
that.
Katrina.
okay. And let me say this also. So there's sneakers, there's shoes, there's clothing. He dressed very well. My thing is, I don't have you. My real problem is not the fact that you asking the people to help rebuild the church. It's like you said, E. Before we even know what the insurance policy is given, can let that be the first prayer. That maybe when they come assess this thing, they assess it right, and we get the exact amount that we need to rebuild this church and to rebuild it bigger. Can that not be the first prayer? Listen, I would be saying to the people, listen, if I got to sell every shoe in my closet to rebuild this thing, we're going to get this thing done. Katrina, your thoughts?
Hello, y'all. My thoughts are as everybody's. Why? Okay, if you saying that the damage is $20 million, okay, cool. And now you saying you need $4 million to build the church. Okay, why you can't get that from your wife and reimburse her when you get the insurance money?
You better talk.
And you also get paid from the church members from the tidings where they get that. When these people do tidings, why don't you invest in that? So let Shawnee pay for this instead of asking your congregation to pay for that, which we know people pay their church and their tithings and all that type of stuff. So don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, if you need that $4 million, why you can't get it from your wife and you just reimburse your wife and say, look what my wife did for the church, to let my congregation know I don't have to depend on y'all, but I'm grateful for y'all donations. But I did this with my wife, and we're gonna get this church back together. If you're not a con man, I'm not saying that he is. I'm just saying in general. And another thing, you said that God destroyed your church. Well, maybe God destroyed that church for a reason. If you want to be a preacher, you can preach outside. You can preach in a tent. I see people all in revivals preaching in tents. It doesn't matter where you are. if you preaching the word of God, as long as you getting that word out and people are listening. You say you was in Joel Osteen church. Well, don't they televise him? Why they can't televise you? Why your congregation can't be at home? I'm not saying you can't pay your members or the kids with daycare. So where the kids going to daycare at now? How they getting to daycare now? Who's funding that? You got a lot of done answers, but you don't even have the questions because the things that you're saying ain't making sense. If you need $4 million, get it from your wife. You don't even pay taxes. No preacher pays taxes. So if you need money, and I'm quite sure you got the money, why are you asking people in the congregation to donate? And probably half of the congregation probably standing in the soup line, probably can't even make their rent. But you asking for that for them for a church. And don't get me wrong, I'm not against churches or anything like that. So don't come for me like that in the thing chat. I'm just saying, God said you can congregate anywhere. That's all I got, G.
I appreciate you. E, you wanted me to circle back?
Uh, yes. Katrina so eloquently touched on what I was going to say. Go preach on the basketball wives. Go. How much money did Evelyn donate because they've been on that show for a while. Every time you look at that show, that Brooke Bailey, she's always dressed in Gucci and Louis Vuitton. How come none of them have donated? I want to see how much they have put in towards this since Shawnee was leading the relief efforts. And
Or
also
Evelyn with her A+ credit.
okay, come on, A+. And then the other thing was, I hate when people use the children, because when you said that the first time, I meant to touch on that. Oh, well, where are the children going to go? Well, what about the children watching that poisonous show, Basketball Wives? And when Katrina mentioned he doesn't pay taxes, I forgot that Keion is worth $8 million. He's asking for $4 million. Shawnee is worth $35 million. And so you're asking for $4 million. You're kidding me. And then not only that, people think that all he does is preach. No, he made his money originally from entrepreneurship. He had a tax business. I want to call him Take Your Taxes, Keion, but let me not go there. So my thing is this. He has businesses. He's an author. He gets residuals from that. This is not his only source of income, but you want people to give you this money so that you can own this building and then run it the way you want to run. No, 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 no. This is suspicious, and I don't like it.
You know what, E? I don't like it either when you're talking about two people who can go in their own piggy bank and get the funds.
Collectively, they have $44
They
million.
don't want to do that because they don't mean the right things by it. And when you sow something on bad faith, it's gonna crumble and it's gonna fall. And maybe that's what he needs to be looking at, is why his church went through what it went through.
Listen, like somebody said, we're going to educate over here. And I love God, I love the church, but God also gives you common sense. You got y'all worth let's even downgrade it. Y'all worth 30 million collectively. And listen, she got to give to charitable events every year so that she can offset her own taxes. Let the charity start with your husband. Say, hubby, I got $2.2 million on it, so now you only need $2.2 million. And I know a lot of churches I go to, when they have these initiatives, they start off the initiative. They say, you know what, I'm asking everybody for $2,100. I'm going to start by giving $4,200 myself. And they put the check in the fund.
Allegedly, didn't she give her the man that she was messing with before she got married $50,000? Allegedly.
I don't even
I'm
want
just
to
asking.
go further with that. I'm just saying that this is your husband. This is your husband. You worth 30 million. He need 4 million to rebuild this church. First, let's hear what the insurance said they got to give you. Then after the insurance, I would, even before the insurance check come, I'd be like, hubby, don't worry about it. Whatever the insurance don't give, we gonna go to the bank and get in and get this thing done. And whatever extra the churchgoers want to donate towards this cause, and once we put the library back in the building, if they want to donate to the library or donate some chairs to go back in a daycare or the school or whatever, that's what we gonna do.
Right. If it's truly about the kids, you do it.
You know what though, Marcy? But that's her husband. It's not just a random church. That's her husband. Husband and wife should invest in each other. If my husband's business burnt down to the ground and I got the money, I'm going to give it to my hubby. That's her husband. This is not like she just picking a random church and she came home and was like, you know what, honey, I'm about to give this church over here $4.4 million. This is her husband's church. And she the first lady.
And all her kids are about grown anyway.
They are. But not only that, it's really their church. She the first lady. She the first lady of the church. He said the first lady preached something or did something or ran something, he said in that thing. He said, we still preaching, and the first lady even did such and such this weekend. So the first lady can
The Lighthouse Ministry.
Come on now. The first lady could come up with $2.2 million, not for a random, for her hubby. This is her husband's business. This is what he do 24/7. Help your husband rebuild God's kingdom. And whatever the church people give, it could be extra. Once it's rebuilt, tell the people, you know what, now we need some pews for inside the church. We need the lighting. The lighting people gonna come. Y'all want to donate to that, to the recess lighting or whatever. It's messy. But I do wish him well. And God bless. But you know, a lot of these pastors now, and again, I'm excluding him out of this. I'm just talking generically right now. A lot of these pastors, they're in the pulpit and they're supposed to be breathing the breath of life back into the people, and they're destroying lives. Got this other pastor just recently stepped down. It's messy. And that's a huge responsibility when you want to stand in the pulpit and speak to the people. You got a lot on your shoulders and on your back. You're supposed to be puffing a breath of life back into them. And you know what? Child, the building fund. Come on. That's why, Lisa, he said we don't have 2 years to try to collect the money and then 2 years to rebuild. Because you know the building funds, and they used to have that little barometer. Come on now, let's take it back to the church. He said the barometer, for years the thing was up there and the red mark go up a little bit inch by inch by inch, and years later they still looking for $10,000. But see, the other thing, he said he wanted it in 4 days because they don't have years to rebuild. Well, who already got it sitting in their bank account? You and your wife. You and your wife. Anyway, guys, we're going to move on.
But Diva, he said, this the thing. He's not trying to just build his church back. He said, God said, I tore it down so you could build it bigger. That ain't how God works.
He sure did say that. See, the other problem I had with his conversation, and that's why people, we got to use our brains, right? The other problem, thank you for that, in my opinion, because you triggered my brain. The other problem I had with that particular situation is he said weekly they was turning away 600 to 700 people because they just didn't have the room. They didn't have the place to sit the people. So weekly for months, you was letting 600 to 700 souls just get turned away because the building was too small. It seemed like a lot of property on this land. My thing is, I have been to mega churches where the actual physical sanctuary was no longer holding the people, and they had what they call an overflow area where they would have a screen, because now there's technology, people. You know, I'm not a techie person, but there's technology where they would have a screen in the overflow area where you would be sitting in the overflow, still part of the church somewhere in the church building in a different area, and you would still see the message and hear everything by looking on the screen. They call it overflow.
My church did that too. But not only that, add another service.
Oh, sure. Come on, E.
But I'm just thinking, I thought he said he was in Joel Osteen's
No,
church.
hold on.
That,
He is. Hold on, Katrina. He is. But he asked. They only lent him the church for the month of August. But hold on,
oh,
E.
okay.
Hold on, E. You are correct, because I've been in another mega church where they had a 6 a.m. service.
Come on.
They had the 10 a.m. service, and then they had an evening service to accommodate on the people. You better talk, E. You know, like we know about the church. Sometimes people swear people are heathens just because we want to address a situation. A pastor is a man. We all human. We all flesh and blood. And all we're saying here is that Pastor Keion, you can start rebuilding that church. Go to the bank, you and Shawnee, and get the money. Okay? Come on. Yeah, the 10 a.m. service is the best. Come on, yes, add another service. But you can't just keep turning away 600 to 700 souls.
That's a lot of souls and a lot of kids.
Come on now. Come on now, Tasha. Yes, they have 3 times to attend church, 8, 11, and 6 p.m. Talk to the people.
He just mad he can't get them tithes. Don't you play?
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you, though. Usually dedicated church members, they will send their tithes no matter what. And some people have it on automatic. They will send their tithes no matter what. What he wants is what he wants, which unfortunately some of these pastors love to do. What he wants is what he wants, and he just wanted that money right then and there so he can do. Come on now, the tithes is on automatic. A lot of people like that now. I wish him well, but I think his speech could have been different. I think he could have went about it differently. And I do think that his wife should have turned to that bed and told him, I got you. She the first lady of the church. I got you. They both got books on the market. Promote the book. Say, can everybody please buy this book? Because all the proceeds now is going to go to the rebuilding of this church. They got ways to do this. But we're going to move forward. Can I get an amen? All right. So we're going to go ahead and move forward and wish Pastor Keion Henderson and the First Lady Shawnee Henderson, we wish you well, okay? And build back up the kingdom. So we're going to go ahead and move on into the Judge Mathis story. You know, it's shocking to me, but it's not shocking because Wendy Williams, she knew a lot of the street business. Wendy Williams was a foot soldier on the streets, knowing the business. And when she told it, the people didn't get mad at her. They got pissed. She told us about Diddy way before right now. It had maybe some people listen. Allegedly, all of these people wouldn't had suffered under the hands of Diddy. I just read in Rolling Stones the story about Craig Mack. Very sad. Very sad about and what he went through with Diddy. I just didn't put it on the docket tonight because I have to figure out how to break down that Rolling Stones article a little bit better because it's a long article on him. And they said Craig Mack ended up in like a cult situation, a religious cult situation. It was very sad. And Craig Mack died young. I think he was either in his 50s or 40s. He died young. And he died ill. Just very sad story. But let me get back to the point here. So Wendy Williams told us about Judge Mathis a long time ago, alleged that he liked the substances, alleged that he was cheating on his wife, alleged that there was babies and all kind of stuff going on, all alleged by Wendy Williams. I don't know. But I do know it sounds and it seems a little bit odd and crazy that after 39 years of marriage, a year short, 365 days short of 4 decades together in marriage, she runs down to the courthouse and she files for divorce. And she says she wants her spousal support. Let's get into this story. So Judge Mathis' wife, Linda Reese Mathis, files for divorce after 39 years of marriage. Imagine spending that much time with somebody. That's a lot of years. In the court filing, Linda listed their date of separation as July 17, 2024, and added they were splitting due to irreconcilable differences. I mean, that is the catchphrase for all of these divorces now. Okay. So there they are together. Nice looking woman, nice looking couple. So Judge Greg Mathis and his wife, Linda Reese Mathis, are calling it quits just short of their 4th decade of marriage. Linda, 61, filed for divorce from the reality court judge in Los Angeles Superior Court on Thursday, August 22nd, citing irreconcilable differences after 39 years of marriage together, according to court documents obtained by People. In the filing, she listed their date of separation as July 17, 2024, and noted that they had no minor kids. The pair's 4 children, Jade, 39, was that Camara, 36, Greg Jr., 35, and Amir, 34, are all adults. So the former couple does not need to figure out custody. Linda applied for spousal support in the documents, but it's unclear if the couple had a prenuptial agreement in place, as the pair got married at the college and prior to Mathis' daytime Emmy Award-winning reality court show. I don't think they had no prenup. Look at those two. The pair wed in June 1985 when Mathis, 64, was 25. In April 2021, Mathis celebrated their longtime love with a throwback photo of the two on their wedding day. Mary and Linda put me on the path in the right direction, he wrote on Facebook. I hope my journey is an inspiration to others. Mathis last posted about Linda on social media at the beginning of January, sharing photos of the pair sharing a kiss and posing together during a holiday trip to Mexico. Linda and I had a great time celebrating the holidays in Cabo, a great way to end 2023. He captioned the photos. There's those two again. Absolutely gorgeous. Last year, the couple appeared to be in good spirits as they traveled around Europe with Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Samuel L. Jackson, and their wives aboard Johnson's 296-foot Phoenix 2 super yacht. They were snapped in a photo, posing together happily with Mathis' arms around Linda alongside the other couples. The cruise stopped at the Mediterranean countries, including Greece and France, with the group enjoying dinner at Michelangelo's in the Antipodes and fresh sea bass at the Hotel Cala de Vote in Sardinia, according to Johnson's social media posts. There's those two in younger days. Greg and Linda also paired on good terms in March during the Influencers Brunch. In an interview with Boiler Alert discussing whether their family reality show, Mathis Family Matters, will return, the reality show judge opened up about his family dynamic. We are a whole family, a wholesome family, he said. We all have our flaws, but we don't fight. Never have. If we have to fight, the answer is no to returning. So, Linda added, Black families are great families, and no, they're not filled with into fighting. We want to have a strong influence on our community and that show. So, Mathis, it's over. It's a wrap. She filed after almost 4 decades of being married. In my opinion, your thoughts?
So the first thing about this story is that they got married really young. She was 22, he was 25. So I definitely think there were a lot of things that she had to go through. Um, I think once you get your children grown and you don't want to put up with the same things you done put up with in the past. And I think she was hoping for better days and he was still out there trying to play the playground. Um, and I think she's just done. I think she said enough is enough, and I choose me, and I'm glad that she's choosing her. Every woman should choose themselves.
Facts. I appreciate you. Julius, you're up.
Almost 4 decades. And she says she done with a capital D. She done. Judge Mathis, I don't know what you done, but your wifey, the mother of your children, she done. You on her S list right now. She done. And they was in matrimony for almost 4 decades. Mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. But you know what? Her kids is grown, and she's like, you know what? This is my time for me to rediscover who I am. And you know what? Guess what? For her, I love it. Go ahead and discover yourself, Miss Mathis. Go ahead.
I appreciate you, Ira.
Well, I have to say it like I mean it. Good for Linda. I hope she takes him to the cleaners. This is what it looks like when you stay with a man too long. She should have divorced him before the second year of marriage and before the second child. I'm against waiting until the child turns 18 in order to free yourself. No, free yourself while you still have your good years and while you can meet somebody new and start over. Yes, she can start over now, but so much time has gone by. And I really want women in 2024 to get out of this 1865 mindset, thinking that staying together with a trifling good for nothing man is more about proving people wrong than about lying to yourself and making your life miserable in the process. You and your kids, both, because marriage is not always the answer. And I know I know I'm going to be on the car alone, and that's fine. Staying together is not always pretty. And when I see the picture of them together, I don't think it's pretty because I look at it as acting. You're selling this image, you're selling this TV show, and it's profitable for you. This is how you eat and how you feed your children. And while I'm on the topic, I want to pivot to one of his kids. I believe his name is Greg Jr. And it's interesting to me, the relationship and the dynamics between Greg Jr. and Greg Sr. And I hope I got the name right. It's the son who is gay. And I bring that up because on that show, the Greg Mathis show, I always thought he had a very nasty disposition towards some of the gays who came on. And whenever feminine men would come in his courtroom, you can tell, in my opinion, that he was not a fan of that stuff. And I felt like he would exploit their flamboyancy. And I felt he made a spectacle of them. And then to come to find out you have a whole gay son at the house. And there's nothing wrong with being gay. Understand me. I just think that and let me say this, the son is smart. I think he's engaged if he's not married already. And he seems to really have taken after his mother as far as his sensitivity. But how must this son have felt to hear his father speaking like that on national television, knowing that he is same gender loving? So not only was Linda subjecting herself to private misery and embarrassment for God knows how long, and abuse, I'll let you speculate as to what kind allegedly, but her children were subjected to this foolishness. Who knows what they saw behind closed doors? And we know that he has disappointed them in some way because he's a handful as it is, just from watching him on the television. It's hard enough being a working parent, but it's damn near impossible while you're off impregnating Shaniqua, Alexis, and Tanya, allegedly, according to Wendy, and you're filming your own television show. You can't exist at 5 different places at once and raise 4 different children in 4 different stages of life. It's impossible. Now, last thing, Greg Mathis, in my personal opinion and humble opinion, I think he's a predator of women. When Wendy accused him of cheating based upon the stories of the alleged mistresses who voluntarily came to her, and his response to Wendy was to call her a cokehead and say that she had Krispy Kreme powder around her nostrils. I won't get over that. I thought it was nasty the way that he handled that. And that's the type of man he is. And in the article you read, he said, "We don't like to fight." He said that, and the wife said that too. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. He sure sounded like he likes to fight when he was talking to Wendy. So why wouldn't I believe you fight even worse in your own house when the cameras are not around if you would say that on the air? he would rather destroy an honest woman, because I believe, Wendy, that's just my opinion, but I'll say allegedly for the show. He would rather destroy an honest woman and smear her reputation and say that she had powder around her nose than to take responsibility and say, you know what, no comment. And I believe Wendy said that to him. She said, if it's not true, Judge, just say it's not true. He got so out of bounds. And Wendy even said, does thou protest too much? And if I'm not mistaken, he also said that Wendy's co-host was gay. I mean, he was on the roll and just called her out of her name relentlessly. And, last thing, 10 seconds, when I think about how he was responsible for rendering judgments in the court of law against some women, and it just really made me think, about everything I heard on the Wendy Williams show. And sometimes when I would look at his show, and I felt like sometimes he was a bit too harsh. And I know on this channel, people are always saying, well, we have to be mindful of what we say based upon the positions we are in. But the way that he handled himself in that Wendy interview as a judge was downright shameful. I think he and Joe Brown are a part of that 13.2. I think they are misogynists, and every case they've ever presided over should be revisited and reviewed and reconsidered. This is why we need more female lawyers and more female judges. And I'm not talking about like Phaedra Parks either. We need more women presiding over cases about women, period.
Whew. All right. Well, let's hear. I think I found and might be able to play this for us to go down memory lane.
Fixated on drugs and sex to discuss that. That's your problem. You got a real fixation with drugs and sex, and that's all you talk about, from what I understand on your show. And now we know why you had all those 8 abortions. Right now. My God, do you have any spirituality in you at all? You need to go to church. What church do you go to? You need God in your life. Tell us about the beatdown. And I'm not mad. Anyone that knows my show know that I don't take any disrespect, or I don't let anybody say anything they want to me without me checking them real strong and real tough. And that's what you're getting today, Wendy. You're getting a real good checking, all right? Which is what you need. And quite frankly, it's overdue.
That was just a small piece of it, but that thing was crazy. Katrina, you're up.
All I can say is choo, choo, choo. He said it all. I have nothing to come back with. You took my words out of my mouth. I'm with you on that one, girl. That's all I got, Diva.
Yeah.
Choo-choo.
I mean, I really do. I wish them well. And I really personally feel that if after 39 years she felt the need to go down to the courthouse and ask for a divorce, I think where there's smoke, there's fire. So I think only time will tell, and we shall see. I hope it doesn't get ugly. I hope there's a clean break, and I hope that he does right by her and gives her the right amount of money that she deserves after being with him for 39 years. Because he even said, she helped me get on the right track. Marrying her was the best thing that I ever did. So for 39 years, he should do right by her and make sure that she is comfortable, and he gives her all the money that she needs. So I'm going to go ahead and roll into this last story. I remind everybody a little bit that I spoke about this last week, where this judge, he had a young lady I'm sorry, y'all. I lost y'all for a minute. Y'all can hear me now. So let me go ahead and run into this last story. Hopefully I won't lose y'all again. This is a continuation of a story I went into last week, where family sues a Detroit judge that ordered the teen handcuffed for falling asleep during a field trip. So she was on a field trip. She was suffering from being unhoused. They changed the word now. So forgive me if I interchange between homeless and unhoused. But and her mother said that they did not have a right to sleep. This judge wanted to know why she fell asleep in his court. The judge even said to her also that you sleep in your bed at home. And the mother was very upset about what happened. So now they are suing this judge.
Not here. This has been very hard for her.
It's been pretty devastating. Eva doesn't want to come outside.
The fallout continues after a teen was handcuffed and told to wear a gel jumpsuit, all because she fell asleep in a judge's courtroom during a field trip to 36th District Court in Detroit.
She just don't give a care. I'm tempted to give her some days in jail as a lesson.
The lawsuit that we have filed today is a 54-page lawsuit. We have named Judge Kenneth King as a defendant.
The family retained the Feiger law firm to help bring justice to the teen.
Basically, I just want Judge King to take accountability for the way that he humiliated my daughter. She's embarrassed, humiliated, and I can't blame her.
Attorney Todd Perkins is representing Judge Kenneth King, who does not have a docket as he receives sensitivity training, and he has been removed from his teaching positions at Wayne State University. Does he have any regrets?
Well, does he have any regrets? He certainly wouldn't want to have an individual by some action that he's done, to have hurt a young person.
The lawsuit maintains the teen should be compensated for her injuries in the form of monetary damages, an amount that should exceed $75,000, not only from Judge King, but also the company that provides security services in the courtroom and a court officer. But the question is, does the judge have judicial immunity?
100% does not apply. Under the facts that we know, immunity applies only when the judge is acting as a judge in a court proceeding. This was extracurricular.
Would you dispute what this law firm is saying?
Well, what I'm not going to say is to litigate the case right now without having read the complaint.
And because this incident went out over the court's YouTube channel, the Feiger law firm believes that the judge was trying to enact his own version of the reality show Scared Straight.
I don't know how much he was playing to a public opinion on this, but that's something that we will be looking into very, very closely.
As this lawsuit plays out, the mother just hopes her daughter can be restored.
I just want her to be herself, be happy. That's my justice.
In Detroit, Ingrid Kelly, Fox 2 News.
Ooh. He's being sued. So let me just see where this actually starts at. So the brief, a Detroit judge who ordered a teen to be placed in handcuffs after falling asleep during a field trip to his courtroom has been.
Ingrid Kelly has the exclusive.
Hold on.
Murders?
Unsolved.
There is something playing in the background. Give me 1 minute. I don't know what it is. Let me stop sharing for a minute so I can figure out what is playing in the background. But he's being sued. They want $75,000. Just as a reminder, like I said, last week, we started the story and we showed that, he reprimanded her in the courtroom. He had to change into a jumpsuit. Okay, I think I stopped the noise from the background. So let me go ahead and share again. Yeah, I don't think 75K is enough either. I agree with you on that. Okay, so let's go down. So Latoria Till, the girl's mom, called Kenneth King a big bully at a press conference where a federal civil lawsuit against the judge was announced. It's been pretty devastating. Eva is the girl that this happened to. This is her daughter. Doesn't want to come outside, Till said. She doesn't want to be involved with no one else but her family, relatives. It is hard for her to sleep at night. She's asking me why the judge do me like this out of all of the kids. In a story that has since spread across the country, a 15-year-old girl named Eva Goodman visited the 36th District Court on a field trip. While in the courtroom, she fell asleep, upsetting the judge. When she fell asleep, again, King ordered her into handcuffs and a prisoner's outfit. The scene was visible on the court's stream online. The fallout was swift, with King being temporarily removed from his docket and losing his teaching position at Wayne State University. Now he's a defendant in a federal civil rights lawsuit. I don't care what she said. I don't care the fact that she was tired and fell asleep, said James Harrington from the law firm who is representing Till's family. A judge should treat every person fairly and with respect. He didn't do that. The 54-page lawsuit also names the security company from the courtroom as a defendant. Harrington said they also plan to identify and sue 2 security officials involved in the scene. The suit accuses the judge of malicious prosecution, unlawful arrest and incarceration, intentional infliction of emotional distress, invasion of privacy, false arrest, and false imprisonment. We had a member of our bench berate, humiliate, intimidate, and essentially incarcerate a 15-year-old kid, said attorney James Harrington. In a statement after the incident, the court's chief judge said King will receive necessary training to address the issues that led to Goodman being handcuffed. We sincerely hope that this incident does not undermine our long-standing relationship with local schools. Our thoughts and actions are now with the student and her family. We are committed to taking these corrective measures to demonstrate this incident is an isolated occurrence, Judge Williams said. Harrington did not specify a dollar amount the family was seeking, but said would be asking for a large sum because compensation was the only avenue for justice. The lawsuit requests a judgment of no less than $75,000. I just want to see my baby girl smile again. I just want her to be herself. That's my justice, Till said. That's her mother. Till added that she and her 2 kids don't have permanent housing at the moment, having told the Detroit Free Press last week that is why her daughter was tired. Okay. What the George Judge? Okay, I think that's it. Wait, let me see.
It's what you don't see that counts.
I'm trying to see if this gives the other piece of when the mom spoke. Let me just double check.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Oh, you know what? I can't because it's not the condensed version. We're not going through 24 minutes. But y'all get the gist of it. Okay. Katrina, your thoughts? Katrina, are you there? All right, I can't hear Katrina. E, your thoughts?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, girl. Well, you know what my thoughts was last week. I had a change of mind once I got all the facts. Hopefully this woman would get enough money so they would not have to be on a shelter anymore. And when next time he tell her she need to sleep at home, he'll be paying for the bed she's sleeping in. And for him, like I said last week, I was saying about the discipline thing, don't get me wrong. But for him to do all that and said that he should have gave her some days in jail for sleeping, now he took it too far. He took it too far when he made her dress out and handcuffed and everything like that, and then embarrassed her, asking her classmates should he send her to jail. You made a mockery of this girl in a courtroom. And that's sad. She's already going through enough without even having a place to sleep at night. Do they not understand how much of a burden that is for a child to say, well, I don't know where I'm going to sleep tonight? Most of the time they'll stay in school just so they would have a place to congregate with other kids, and they have to be awake or whatever. But that's a lot to be on a child's mind, not knowing where they're going to sleep, eat, or do anything. That's ridiculous. You got to go to the shelter to take showers. You got to go to the shelter to eat. That's a lot to play on a child. Never, that's a lot to play on adults. But just imagine how much stress that is on a child. And then she was going to this little program to try to better herself, in the neighborhood or whatsoever. She was doing extra activities. It wasn't like that she was out on the streets, out hanging out or anything like that. And for her to be an honor student in school, my opinion changed very, very quickly once I got all the facts. And that's why I said we need all the facts before we make a decision on anything that we say. And once I got all the facts, I have nothing but sympathy for her. And I hope that she gets exactly what she needs. And like I said, hopefully she'll have a bed to sleep in that he will be paying for. That's all I got, Diva.
I appreciate you. I'm going to just go back before I come to you, E, and just remind everybody, this is when the mother first spoke, when it first happened.
Outraged by the way a judge punished her daughter on a field trip to his courtroom. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Carolyn Clifford. 7 News Detroit broke the story 24 hours ago. Well, tonight, the teen's mom says she did not know what happened until we started digging. Her 15-year-old daughter fell asleep, and the judge felt compelled to teach her a lesson. Well, now the story is making national headlines. The entire country is talking about how the girl ended up in handcuffs and a jail uniform. 7 News Detroit reporter Ruta Olsonida is following up tonight as the teen's mom sounds off.
That mom says she was horrified to see her daughter in handcuffs and says Judge King didn't have the full story.
Would you want someone to treat your child like that? Would you even treat your child like that if he fell asleep in the courtroom?
Latoria Hill is a single mother of 2 children, including her oldest daughter, Eva Goodman. She signed her up for a summer program with the Greening of Detroit nonprofit to keep her busy. What was supposed to be an educational field trip to 36th District Court Tuesday turned into a traumatizing experience for both of them. Judge Kenneth King, not liking Eva's attitude and seeing her falling asleep, placing her in handcuffs and a jail uniform.
I'm thinking maybe she needs to go to the juvenile detention facility. You do understand that we have a jail for kids.
Latoria says Eva was falling asleep because the family does not have a permanent residence at the moment. They're just trying to make ends meet.
To belittle her in front of the whole world and her friends, to make her even feel more worse about our situation. I'm a single mother. I'm trying my best. I'm doing everything that I can.
You sleep at home in your bed, not in court.
So the fact that he was talking about you go home and get in your bed, how do you know my baby got a home? How do you know my baby got a bed, her own bed that she can sleep in? She don't have that right now. So she was tired.
We spoke to Judge King Tuesday, who stands by his actions to discipline the child after showing him, quote, attitude.
So do I have any reservations? Do I think I was heavy-handed in what I did? No, I don't, because I'll do whatever it needs to be done to reach these kids and make sure that they don't end up in front of me. So that was my own version of scared straight.
You didn't scare nobody straight. You made a parent upset. You scared my child. She was nervous, didn't even know how to act. She'd never been inside no courtroom.
Latoria, frustrated with how this was all handled, removed Eva from the summer program and stands up for her daughter now after she couldn't stand up for her in that courtroom.
And my baby been struggling and she been held on tight. She been going to school. She get good grades. She don't give me no problems.
Judge King has offered to mentor the girl. The family says they are not interested. In Detroit, I'm Ruta Olsonida, 7 News Detroit.
All right. Thank you so much.
That's just to remind everybody of what happened. Who am I up to? E?
Me, because my battery is about to die.
Okay.
So for me, I see where this mom is coming from. And I've told you all before, I have a problem with children being recorded. And this whole thing with this court and this being on YouTube and Zoom, I have a problem with that. And for that reason in particular, no, I don't think $75,000 is enough because this story has gone viral. This is a young lady who hasn't even gotten into the prime of her life, and this footage will be out forever. Just for that alone, I wouldn't ask for anything less than $1 million. Forget this. I think 75,000 is too generous, if you ask me. And I'm getting tired of this immunity crap. I know that the man said, oh, the immunity wouldn't apply here. But I don't think judges should have immunity. I feel like if you are in this position, with great power comes great responsibility. If you make a mistake, I don't care if you're a judge or the president, you need to be held accountable. So yeah, thank God that he will face penalties. But just like I said with Judge Mathis, I'm going to say it about this judge too. I don't even want to call him judge, but I'm going to say this. You were a teacher at a university. How were you treating those damn kids whenever you got into your ego and in your head to where nobody can tell you something? Let me tell you something. I have worked with children, and I tell them all the time, listen, I'm not beyond reproach. I can be wrong. If I am wrong, please let me know. And my daughter will tell you, sometimes mommy gets it wrong. I do. Sometimes I get it wrong.
You all do. You all do.
And I think when you lead with the iron fist, that your word is the law, I think it sets the wrong tone for children. And I think what he did was just it was inhumane. And to combat and say, oh, I will mentor her as a way of offsetting the humiliation this person faced, is outrageous, is tone deaf, and you've lost your goddamn mind. There's no mentoring should go involved. And like the man said, they're going to be watching his earnings very carefully. They get paid off of that YouTube. They get paid, and he was going to use that footage to like I believe that mom, to get a spinoff of this Scared Straight, the Black edition. No, I don't like it. They need to lock his ass up, and I gotta go because my battery's dying.
I appreciate you. Thanks for coming through, E.
Love you. Bye.
Be back, y'all, and y'all can check E out on her channel. Name just as you see her name written there. In Touch with E. All right, guys. Choo. Thanks for coming through. Julius, did I come to you?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Like I said when we first broke the story last week,
Mm-hmm.
and now they want to offer an attempted $75K? No. Absolutely not. I say $1 million and take the majority of it from his pension.
Mm-hmm.
Half of it can be used to put down on a down payment for a house. Then the other half can be used as a college fund. See, from the federal level, from the presidency, a certain candidate, certain Congress people, certain judges, we're in the era of fluff around and find out.
Mm.
And certain people are about to find out because they fluffed around enough.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter the color of your skin. If you think you're better than somebody, and if you think you're going to belittle somebody when they have done no wrong, and you're supposed to lead in a mentoring role, not think of that afterwards, but in the moment, oh, you're about to lose everything. Everything. And it should be taken from the overwhelming majority of his pension. I said what I said.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you, Julius. Did I get to you? In my opinion, we got to everybody. My screen.
No, I ain't get to go.
Okay, go ahead.
So first of all, I'm gonna lay him out because I'm glad I came here because I didn't get to talk about it the first time. But first of all, you said I did this because this is my version of Scared Straight.
Uh-huh.
Well, you should have checked if this was a program for Scared Straight, because what the mama said was this was a program for them to visit different districts of the court. They didn't say these children were problem children. So what would you need to scare them straight from? And then you said she had an attitude. So when did falling asleep become an attitude? Because if that's the case, then every kid in America is a problem child because they all fall asleep. Okay, even if they do have somewhere to stay, they fall asleep. If they get bored, they fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the problem. This man's ego was so doggone big that he couldn't stand that she fell asleep. And he couldn't ask the question of, is it a problem in your home life? He couldn't do that. So he put her in handcuffs and here's the thing. I seriously think everybody forget it's a pipeline. Okay. And that pipeline has always been toward the jails. And they make sure they train the kids. Do you know that you're going through this pipeline? Well, here's where the curses are supposed to be broken, because we're supposed to be in the country where we live in the land of the free, but we not. They still gonna try to handcuff your children. And have you thought about the emotional distress that put that girl through, being put in handcuffs, taken back to the back, undressing herself, putting her in a uniform, and you told her you're gonna put her in a detention center because it's a place for her? No, I say this man needs to be locked up. Okay, they need to put him in handcuffs, take him in the back, put him in a uniform, and lock his behind up and give him 3 years. Okay, because he traumatized me when I had to see it. You better be glad you messed around with the right mama. I'm just gonna tell you that, okay? Because I would have been suing him. I would have sued that program. I would have sued the state, the city, and the mayor. Okay. Because how in the world you had the power to put my baby in handcuffs? You locked her up. You took her to a room. She's 15. That means she's a minor. You took her to a room and undressed her without my consent? That is wrong on all levels, because she is 15. She's a minor. You can't do nothing without her parent permission. So what was the consent in anything? They didn't call this mom up and say, hey, we finna lock your baby up or undress them. No. I'm telling you, she fighting way too low, okay? My mama needs you to fight higher, okay? Fight higher.
Yeah, 75 starting out no lower than 75. Yeah, I think the low ball, the base number is too low. Very messy. Listen, guys, I'm gonna roll right into this feel-good story. I appreciate y'all, all the comments on that. The feel-good story is some music in the beginning. I don't want to get dinged for it. I'm probably gonna have to mute the first couple words on it, but it's such a good story. This young lady in her bakery. I'm gonna figure out when I could turn back this sound back on because of the music, but I still felt it was a good story for us to see. So I'm probably gonna chop off a little bit at the beginning and the end.
Brooklyn entrepreneur.
Bringing not only French flavor.
I gotta let that music stop playing, y'all.
We are at Je t'aime Patisserie. My baby, my first ever business. Je t'aime actually means I love you. My name is Jete. I'm a lover. Everything that has to do with love, family, friends, relationship, food, community embodies everything that I am. So my slogan is made from love, not made with love. Every day I wake up at 3:30 a.m. and I'm just like, let's get to it. I really love what I do. The French cooking techniques are very intricate, very detailed, very technical. So knowing that I like to solve problems and knowing that I love a challenge, I just gravitated towards their technique of baking. All of my recipes are my own. I create them from scratch. I call it like black girl spin on French pastries. The quality of food here is very important. I try to be as local as possible. I try to make sure that everything that we do is, one, helping the community, but also helping the people who are living in this community.
So the focaccia is caramelized onions.
We don't use any coloring. We don't use any processed anything. We put fresh berries. We make jams here. We put it on the fruit Danish, our jalapeno cheddar biscuits. Everyone loves the ham and cheese croissants, the chocolate croissants, the almond croissants. You want to heat up? People are waiting outside for me to open the door. I open the door, they zoom in. I don't even have time to enter the door because they want to get their stuff because they know I put love into it. I'm not going to say never, but we barely have any leftovers. So people know that anytime they come here, it's going to be fresh every single day.
So this is my third time coming this week, and I absolutely love the almond cappuccino.
It is really refreshing to watch this business thrive in this neighborhood. If anyone has been here in Bed-Stuy for a decent amount of years, we've watched how not just businesses move, but people. Despite how many ways that people like to talk about Bed-Stuy and disparage it and say that Black and brown people are destroying the neighborhood, we have a neighborhood of love.
This is Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, a historically Black neighborhood. It just encompasses everything that I wanted for my business, to serve an underserved neighborhood. So it was important for me to make sure that I put an impact on communities that not only I come from, but that I want to see grow and flourish as well. We do accept EBT SNAP here, and the process for me to get EBT was quite easy because the space doesn't look like your typical Black-owned business. No one actually came into my doors until like the 4th month. I got a lot of feedback in the beginning, like, oh, we thought you were just another white person gentrifying the neighborhood. No one knew that we accepted SNAP and EBT. When I told my friends and my family and even people in the neighborhood, they were like, you don't want to be associated with those type of people. And it's just like, those people were my mom. Those people are my family. Those people are my friends. Those people are people who live across the street from me. So if you live across the street from a bakery, you can never go in because you can't afford, how is that okay? People need access to affordable food, healthy food. It's not sitting in a store for weeks, that was sitting on a truck for weeks, that was sitting in a factory for weeks. This is food you getting fresh from my oven, straight to your mouth. We've had a lot of people come in here, I never had a freshly made croissant, or I've never had a quiche, or I've never had a mousse cake, or I've never even tasted anything vegan because it's too expensive.
Before coming here, I never really had a lot of the stuff that we make. I've never even heard of a lot of the stuff that we make. I've been making brioche bread. I've been making croissants. It's all a learning experience, and I really love it. Hopefully one day I could do something like this.
I've been working for the last 22, 23 years of my life. This is actually the first time I've come into a workplace that's just fun.
Most of my staff are interns, and in return, they receive education from me on how to do everything here.
You get 3 sheet trays, 1 sheet tray for each cake.
They are able to access all of my recipes. I do have 2 baristas that are on payroll.
Thank you so much.
Everybody's here by God's grace, just helping me run my business. I'm actually in the process of working with the community organizer to have the bakery become like a residency kitchen where I have people who may have wanted to open a bakery or a business and couldn't have. I want it to be literally a space for the community to grow with, for us to pour out love as well as get love.
I love how she's committing back to the community. So I just want to support the business.
Being able to witness another Black woman have the courage to run a business is empowering. The aesthetic and the feel and the environment, it actually motivates me to get the ball rolling with my own business.
Being a generational curse breaker, it may be for some people, they may be able to carry that weight, but I don't choose to carry that weight. I choose to start new generations of goodness. So
I'm not a generational curse breaker. I am a generational starter. So I want to create my own way, just start something new.
And
all right, I had to stop it there because it's about to play music again. But I just thought, what an amazing young lady. Absolutely beautiful. Just the fact that she's accepting like the government assistant. Thank you, Bianca, for giving that definition. Like the government assistant, public assistant, that she's open for not just, you know, people that can traditionally afford it, but she's open to like her neighbors, the people that live around her. She's willing to build up the neighborhood. And like she said, she's putting out fresh food, not something that's been sitting in the truck or in factory or whatever, you know, for weeks, and then we're eating it. God bless her. I wish her all the best. Listen, guys, thank you for spending time with me Friday night, especially since the train pulled out late. I truly appreciate y'all. If y'all did not hit that like button coming in, hit the like button on the way out. Good night and goodbye, everybody.